Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into how to build a personal brand. But forget all the fuzzy, vague advice you've heard before. We've got a clear, actionable playbook, all based on first principles, that's going to help you create a brand that actually adds real value. And it all kicks off with one single critical shift in your thinking. We're starting right here, because this is, and I mean this, the single most important rule. If you only take one thing away from this entire explainer, please let it be this. This one shift in mindset is the secret to building a brand that feels authentic and genuinely helpful, not self-promotional or, just a little bit icky. And that quote really gets to the heart of it, to the true foundation of your brand. It kind of flips the script on how most people approach it. See, it's not about you or your long list of accomplishments or what you feel like talking about. The core of a really powerful brand is and always will be service. So what does that actually look like? Well, the icky approach is all about me, me, me. But the service approach, the one that actually works, it focuses 100% on your audience. Your main goal isn't to promote yourself, it's to consistently, reliably help other people succeed. That's the kind of brand that builds deep, lasting trust. Okay, so how do you put this into action? By starting to think of yourself as a one-person media company. Now, don't let that term freak you out. It's just a simple, strategic way to think about things. You really only have three main assets: your audience, the content you create for them, and the media, the channels you use to share it. That's it. Your mission is to find that audience and then build a relationship with them that lasts a lifetime. Right, but before you can serve an audience, you have to know who they are. And this brings us to some really important strategic pre-work. The goal here is simple. You want to be a big fish in a small pond. You're looking for a niche that's small enough for you to really dominate, but still big enough to be worth your time and effort. And finding that perfect focus isn't some kind of magic. It's just a process. And it breaks down into three pretty simple, concrete steps. First, you choose a very specific niche audience. Second, you select one particular problem that they're struggling with. And third, you identify a gap in the solutions that are already out there. So, how do you actually do that? Well, you gotta think like a detective. You start right at the intersection of what you're interested in and what you're actually good at. Then you become an expert listener. What are people in that group complaining about? What are they confused by? Go research what's already out there on Google and Amazon, and then find the gap. Is the advice too academic? Is it 10 years out of date? Your mission is to create something so good it makes those old solutions totally obsolete. All right, once you've locked in your niche, it's time to build the engine that's going to drive your entire brand forward. Your content. This is how you prove that you're all about service. It's how you build that crucial trust with your audience, piece by piece. Now, here's a really powerful way to think about content. Any solution to any problem can be broken down into these 5 parts. You can provide raw information, that's the what. You can organize it into structured knowledge, that's the how. You can explain the core concepts, that's the why. You could teach the right mindset needed for success, or you could detail the hands-on process skills. Every single one of these is a different angle for creating super valuable content. But where does all this content come from? It comes from asking yourself this one incredibly powerful question every single time you help someone one-on-one. See, you have all this expertise that you probably take for granted. This question forces you to pull out that hidden knowledge, the mental checklists, the frameworks, the decision criteria you use without even thinking about it. And this is how you scale your impact. You just apply this one core principle. Help one person and let others watch. That super thoughtful email you just spent an hour writing to answer a really complex question, boom, that's a future blog post. That coaching session you just wrapped up, with their permission, of course, that could be a case study or a short video. You stop trying to create everything from scratch and just start documenting the help you're already giving. Okay, creating amazing content is half the battle, but the other half is actually getting it in front of the right people. This is your brand's megaphone, and trust me, how you use it is just as important as what you're saying into it. The key here is to focus on the highest leverage channel first. Don't try to be everywhere all at once, you'll burn out.
You're looking for activities that give you the biggest possible audience reach for the least amount of effort. A perfect example is something like guest posting. You're literally tapping into someone else's audience to build your own momentum. It's a huge win.
So what do these channels look like? Well, you could join online groups and just become the human Google for your topic. You could write guest articles for blogs that your audience already reads. You can create content that's so unbelievably good it just dominates the search rankings. Or if you're in a company, you could organize a simple lunch and learn. The strategy is always the same. Leverage platforms and audiences that already exist.
And you focus on just one of these high leverage channels until you reach what's called critical mass. This is the goal. This is the tipping point. It's that moment when people in your niche stop being skeptical and start presuming your content is valuable. They just recognize your name and you start getting thanked for your work out in the open. That's how you know your strategy is really working.
Finally, let's get real for a minute. Building a brand is a marathon. It is not a sprint. There are going to be hurdles along the way. But if you understand them ahead of time, you can play the long game and not get discouraged.
So what if you feel like, I don't have enough experience yet? The advice is so simple and so powerful. Own your current stage. You don't have to be the world's #1 expert. You just need to know a little bit more than the audience you're trying to help. Share what you're learning as you're learning it. Your journey is the content.
The real key is to reframe the challenges you'll face. When your content gets rejected, that isn't personal. It's just feedback. It's a signal to listen better. A boss who feels threatened, that's actually an opportunity to bring them on board by helping build their brand too. And getting pigeonholed, you might think that's a bad thing, but it's actually a fantastic sign. It means you've built real trust, which gives you a super strong base to eventually branch out from. So there you have it. The playbook is officially yours. You have the mindset, you have the strategy, and you have the tactics. Now there's only one question left. The same one that started this whole thing. Who will you choose to serve?